is Brooke, and today we're going to talk about setting realistic goals for yourself. It is always important to continue to challenge yourself and to try to progress to become a better person in every way. But at the same time, it is important to make sure that you are setting realistic goals for yourself that you are actually able to accomplish. In this video, I want to kind of explain the different types of ways that you can structure your goals to set yourself up for success. So you do want to set your goals high enough to where you are challenging yourself and actually making decent progression in whatever it is that you are trying to achieve. But at the same time, you don't want to make them so difficult to where you don't even attempt accomplishing them anyways, because they just seem so far out of reach. A way to help you reach those goals that seem so far out of reach right now is to kind of break them down into steps. So rather than just saying, I want to do this grand, amazing thing, actually break down what would be needed in order to achieve that grand, amazing thing that you do want to do. There are many steps along the way that will help lead you to that goal. So a good way you can break this down is by time increments. So each day you can set a very, very small goal for yourself, and then each week a slightly larger goal that accumulates all of those day-to-day goals, and growing into the month and then into the year, and eventually reaching that grand, amazing thing that seemed so far out of reach, but now broken down doesn't seem so hard after all. So for an example, let's say maybe you want to learn how to cook and be sufficient in cooking every meal every day. But if you are someone who's never really done that before, it's unrealistic to tell yourself that you're suddenly going to start planning all of your meals and be able to cook everything delicious right off the bat. So I would say maybe for your everyday goal, maybe you'll just cook one side dish for your dinner each night. And that way you can practice with different ingredients, practice your skills, try to get better at them without potentially ruining your entire meal if it is your first time. And then perhaps at the end of the week, you'll have one day a week where you will cook a complete meal by scratch by yourself and see how that goes. So maybe by the end of a few months, maybe by 6 months, you'll be able to cook every meal for yourself. Task-oriented goals are a lot easier and quicker to move through, and I think those are actually very important to set for your daily goals. It is also very helpful at the beginning of your day if you want to actually create a checklist for yourself of things that you want to achieve for the day. That is very useful, and it's very helpful too. At the end of the week, you can kind of look back and see all of the things that you've checked off and if you were able to achieve most of them. It is important that you do understand yourself and the amount of time that you have allotted in your day for different activities. Everybody is different in what they want to achieve and how much time they have, and they know their personality types, how much they are able to focus on each day. Doing this will take some time, and you'll be able to kind of adjust it as needed as you see how much you're able to do and how much further you're able to get. So for me, I'm kind of an overachiever, so when I kind of started doing this for myself, I would set my goals very, very high. Not even necessarily something so grand that I wanted to do that's kind of apart from this, but even just in daily tasks, I would set all of these things that I would want to do, basically try to finish everything I possibly could into one day so that I could have my other days to work on other things. Which, don't get me wrong, is not a bad thing to do, but you do have to be realistic. So there was a point in time where I would set so many things for myself to do in one day to where I was constantly failing. So of course you do want to be challenging yourself, but you don't want to make it so impossible to where you are constantly failing. That is not a good feeling, and it actually doesn't really help you get anywhere. So a good way to mitigate this problem is to set realistic goals that are just slightly out of reach. So let's take kind of a broad example. Let's say, for instance, aside from work and my daily activities, I am able to do 5 tasks of extracurricular activities of things that I want to do for myself. Rather than going from 5 and trying to complete 10, maybe I'll set something more realistic, like maybe I'll try to work on completing 7 each day. Maybe 6 is a little bit too close to what I'm already doing, and that's not too far out of reach. It might be too easy for me to complete, but I want something just out of reach to where I do have to work in order to reach it, but it is still attainable. Another thing to consider is being flexible with your goals. And this might sound funny because often the idea is associated with a rigid schedule of something that you are determined to complete, which in a sense that it is, and that you are working to achieve this thing, but at the same time you don't want to be so hard on yourself to where you no longer attempt to complete those things because you are always failing yourself. It is important to take into consideration that life is not always a rigid schedule, and sometimes things will randomly pop up. Sometimes you'll be feeling differently than you did the day before, and that's okay. The goals are there to help you from becoming that kind of person that procrastinates and doesn't work towards getting things done, but rather than beating yourself up if you're unable to do so for outside reasons or because of different ebbs and flows of life, that's okay. This mindset of knowing that you are capable of doing it despite what might have come up and prevented you from doing it before will actually help you to achieve bigger goals in the future as well. If you simply believe in yourself and that you are able to do these things, it will actually make them a lot easier. Of course, it does depend on what exactly it is you're trying to achieve, whether it's some kind of physical goal like working out, maybe it's something that you want, a skill you want to learn, or even behavior that you want to change in yourself. Of course, they all will have different challenges within themselves, but your mindset will have such a big impact on it no matter what it is. So even if you do fall back, please do not let that be a reason to give up. You can always pick it up, and it is never too late to try again. A good example of this is an exercise schedule. This is a challenge for many people, as it is pretty difficult to maintain that schedule, as it is difficult physically and just time-wise. There are many factors. Me, for instance, I set goals for myself of that I have to work out 3 times a week. But there are weeks where I do less than that, and I've had to learn to be okay with that, because I am very hard on myself, and when I don't achieve the things that I want to do, it is difficult. But it is also important to learn to let those things go and realize that you do also have to listen to your mind and your body. So maybe I worked out harder than I expected to the day before, and I am so sore that I cannot do it again the next day. And that has to be okay, because the whole reason for working out was to better my health, and if I am overextending my body, that is no longer healthy. So be sure to pay attention to your body and listen to what is needed for you. The purpose of these goals is to better yourself in any physical or mental way. I hope that some of these ideas will help you to achieve the things that you want to do. And if you have any further ideas or types of schedules that you use for yourself that work very well, I would love to hear about that. So please let me know. For now, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.